You know, since
Peak, yes.
yes,
Horror, I don't think so.
it's fine. It's so my Minecraft vote is deleting itself. I have no idea what to expect, but I'm expecting it to be good regardless. Considering this guy has made a lot of very good stuff before, including Matchbox as well. I'm curious to see what story he's gonna tell here, and to see what the twist is, because usually he does like a good twist in the end, you know.
Weird Missing Block Glitch is the first of many videos uploaded
Fangirls
to
too.
a
Yeah, there
channel
are
called
fangirls too.
Nights. The channel
You know,
is
too many.
sparse, no profile picture, a blank banner, and only these 8
Fangirl.
videos. But these videos aren't normal. They're videos of a player haunted by a world that is deleting itself. A
Wow.
world that holds secrets into one of the
Piggy.
strangest stories the internet has ever seen. And the only way to solve it is to watch the first video, where it seems like whoever we're watching is giving us a lay of the land, showing us around their Minecraft world. We catch a glimpse of their house and a small castle off to the side, and
Oh,
then
cool.
something a bit odd. If you blink, you might miss it, but take a look at this scenery. In the distance, there
No,
is a
I'm sorry,
single
I have
tree
to
with only one
blink
leaf.
constantly.
We have no reason to believe this isn't just man-made, but it feels weird, especially considering all the normal trees around it. But this is hardly the strangest part of the video. As our protagonist keeps walking, he runs into this, a gaping chunk
Jump.
Oh
of
damn,
void.
Jump.
This
a
hole
chunk
extends all the way to bedrock,
Jump.
and even
Stop.
stranger all around it, our
No.
main character runs into
There's
some
water.
half-cut down
It's
trees.
fine.
Again, these could have been man-made,
okay. I don't know
but
if you really just paid attention to
into
where
some
how deep it
way
goes.
to bedrock, and even stranger all around, void.
There is water.
It's
fine.
going into the void.
There
is
is
no.
water.
That's not
You
water
can-
under there. That's the dark infinite
there
abyss.
is water on the side.
Okay, do you not understand how the infinite void works? There is no land. There's nothing. If you fall in there, the water stops. It doesn't go down there. You just
No,
die.
but like you can go down there to the water. You don't need to fall. You can stand on the glowing
That's lava.
blocks that are there.
That's lava,
that
dumbass.
lava?
That's lava, dumbass.
Well, you can mine yourself up.
You can't place
You can
blocks
keep mining.
under the void.
No, why would no? I am not saying go into the void.
But if you say jump, it's literally where it's gonna end up pretty much.
This hole
No,
extends
you can
all
jump to
the
the
way to
water.
bedrock, and even stranger all around it, our main character runs into some half-cut down trees. Again, these could have been man-made, but why? Why not mine the full tree, and why leave it like this? Our player hesitantly goes down into the chunk, and I guess after being spooked, heads back to the surface only to find that a giant hole has now appeared in front of their house. They freak out, and the video ends. This hole wasn't there before, and what caused it is completely unknown, but clearly our character was
clearly have a bigger, glaring, very, this person's obviously crazy issue. You know why? Why is your steak chunks not in a stack? Why are they separated in your hotbar? You need to be arrested for that, okay?
spooked, leaving the
I
world
did
almost
not
immediately.
think about
They
that.
didn't do this to their world, so who or what did? There are a few more things about this video though that I didn't point out at first. For one, on the walk back to the house, our main character encounters a tree with a missing block, but judging by how he reacts, filling the gap, we can assume that he wouldn't leave a tree like this, and this also wasn't him. Just another weird oddity of blocks seemingly disappearing in this world. Another thing that's strange is the lack of bedrock. Both of the holes we've seen so far have had no bedrock at the bottom. For some reason, this world lacks a foundation. But finally, we can get some concrete info about what's going on by looking at the description. Weird missing blocks in mine and Danny's world. Not sure if this is something that just happens, but I thought I'd put it here and see if anyone knows. Mason Knight 77. Now we have a name
Okay.
for whoever runs this channel, Mason, and we get confirmation that he doesn't know what's going on here either. We're also introduced to someone named Danny. Apparently he shared this world with Mason, but we're still totally in the dark about what's going on and why holes into the void are appearing all over this world. For that, we have to watch video number 2. The video It Gets Worse leaves little to the imagination about what's to come. Mason leaves his house again, and we can see that 2 new holes have formed in his world. One in the far corner and one
on the
eating
left.
up part of the castle.
Yeah.
Mason looks around and peers down the various holes. He's probably scared and confused, and yet again there's no bedrock to be seen. But as he approaches
Okay.
the hole, we notice something odd. There's no leaves on
tree.
this tree.
Yeah.
This tree isn't caught in any chunk errors, but for some reason half its leaves are totally gone, just like the tree we saw in episode 1. And not to mention, this time there are strange holes dug into the ground below it. For some unknown reason, more and more blocks are slowly disappearing from this world, and Mason is trapped inside. Mason then heads to the castle and begins to repair the ground and then the castle itself. The video cuts to Mason
Okay,
getting more
makes
materials
sense.
from his chest before heading back to
Oh, that's
continue the
a lot of
repairs. He
stuff.
finishes repairing the castle, but as he turns around, he sees it. A new hole opened up right behind him. In between Mason walking back and finishing the castle repairs, there were no cuts in the video, no time for someone to dig this chunk out. This
A lot of
happened
lava.
as Mason was online, just like we saw in episode 1. Probably frightened, Mason goes to investigate, looking around frantically, peering down the hole, and then we get this.
Oh, there goes
All of a
the
sudden,
Oh.
all the leaves around Mason disappear, leaving the trees bare just as we saw before. This is terrifying. The world is disintegrating around Mason in real time. But why? What's behind this disappearance, and why is it doing this? The description of this video doesn't tell us much, essentially exactly what we just saw unfold. However, we do learn that this castle is specifically Danny's and not Mason's. As for the rest of what's going on here, we're still very much in the dark, and video 3 is a bit strange.
A
A
new
new
world?
world begins with the generating title screen, but it seems cut up, since right after supposedly generating the world, Mason, or whoever we're watching, already has pretty advanced items, so this world was definitely played through quite a bit between what we just saw. And at least from the terrain we can see, it seems like a totally different world than what Mason was just showing us. Mason walks around for most of the
Pretty
video
cool.
before planting a rose and looking out over a lake. This video also has a song playing in the background.
I wonder what this is about. Oh my god, not the Minecraft music. Don't do this to me. It's a beautiful song. What can we say? Ah,
Really?
C418's Danny. The video is simple but weird, and it seems very out of place. For one thing, why the cut between generating world and getting all of these items? It just doesn't make sense to me to cut out all the progress and only give us this. And for another, why the rose and the music? To me though, maybe this is simply meant to be Mason's single player world, a way to escape from the horrors happening in the world he shares with Danny. This is his peaceful reverie away from it all. But the next video is the polar opposite. It seems that Mason is back on his and Danny's world, and
top of
he's
the-
not going
top
down
of
without a
things
fight.
down.
All the leaves near Mason's house are now gone, and he's not in a good mood about it. Mason
Castle.
punches a sheep and a chicken
Oh.
before
Oh.
walking to the back of his house and showing us
What
a
have the
giant
animals
crevasse.
done to
This is the
you?
biggest hole we've seen form
Yeah,
yet,
it's pretty
implying that the
big.
disintegration is only getting faster. In a rage, Mason slaughters all the chickens perched by his base, almost as if he's fighting
Hope they
back
fall
against the
down in the
world
hole.
itself. And he discovers another chunk with random holes that seem to go nowhere, as if the chunk is preparing to be deleted. Enraged, Mason returns home, grabs TNT, and begins exploding the chunk over and over and over again, as if he thinks that it's his world that's out to get him and he's going to fight back by hurting the world itself. But his efforts are in vain, and after detonating almost all his TNT, Mason turns around to find that another chunk of the castle has been deleted deleted right behind him. The world is
He's lucky he
also
didn't fall back
fighting
into it.
and it's fighting harder. Mason drops his last TNT into the newly formed hole and returns home, slaughtering all the mobs stationed outside once again, accidentally blowing up his house, and finally returning to bed in defeat. This isn't a victory, but it seems like Mason has a change of heart, since in the next video things are quite different. The video titled Repairs consists of Mason doing just that, repairs. The world around him has gotten even worse, but Mason doesn't seem to be mad anymore. Instead, he grabs a bunch of dirt and cobblestone and patches up both the castle and the holes he made in the last video, almost as if he's apologizing to the world for what he did last time. The description seems to confirm this. Mason is making amends with whatever supernatural force is haunting his game. I guess he's hoping that by apologizing, maybe it will just stop taking away land. Mason continues to patch up the castle, but as he brings in some ladders, we notice something odd. A chest. Mason doesn't open this chest, and it wasn't here earlier when Mason was rebuilding, meaning that he placed it sometime during this cut and what we see earlier on. But why? This is a bit of a weird mystery, and I'm still not really sure what this chest is meant to symbolize, but we can do some deduction to maybe figure out what he put inside. This is the last glimpse we get of Mason's inventory before the cut, and we can see that it looks pretty normal, nothing that weird. After the cut though, once we know the chest has been placed, Mason's inventory looks like
chest
this.
and the flower
Pretty
rose
much
is
everything
gone.
that was originally there is still there, besides the cobble that we know Mason used to rebuild the castle. In fact, there's only two items that were lost across the cut. The chest, which obviously Mason placed inside, and weirdly, the rose. Mason picks this rose 20 seconds into the video, and given that it's gone after the cut, we can assume that this is what he placed inside the chest. But if so, why? What's the significance in placing this rose inside of the chest? And honestly, we don't have any actual proof that that's really what he put in the chest. For all we know, he could have put nothing and just replanted or stored the rose somewhere else. Regardless, the rest of the video continues rather calmly. There are more repairs, and Mason goes to bed. By now, we can observe a pattern. Every video we've watched so far, with the exception of the odd New World one, has more and more chunks and leaves disappearing from Mason's world. He starts confused, tries to run away, tries to fight back, and finally tries to make amends, all to no avail. It just keeps getting worse for him. Throughout all of this, Mason sometimes rebuilds other chunks, but the one thing he keeps rebuilding is Danny's castle. And on the subject, we never once get to meet Danny himself.
I mean,
but the cause of the disintegration is still very unknown, and Mason isn't really talkative in any of these videos, so our only choice to solve this mystery is to keep watching. The next video, titled Border, is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. A border formed around the house and the castle. I don't know why, but it keeps getting worse, and I don't know what to do. Mason gives us a tour, and yeah, it's bad. A giant border of void chunks has now formed all around his house and nearby land. The terrain behind it seems to be okay, for now, but it's clear that this area Mason lives in is being isolated by the world around it. The entire video consists of Mason walking the perimeter, giving us a tour of the horrors taking over his world. At one point, something catches his eye. Cobblestone, a not naturally occurring block, and he heads down into the border to explore further. He comes across this weird wall-like structure and studies it for a minute, then leaves. Cobblestone usually implies man-made, but what this structure is very much beyond me. Though given the nearby presence of lava and obsidian, it could be just as easily that this structure was naturally generated when the terrain spliced or was dug out. We have no idea. As the tour continues, we find out that almost all the trees inside the perimeter have been stripped of their leaves, resulting in a very haunting and eerie skyline. This area of the world
that is kind of like,
where Mason's house is being destroyed, which begs an interesting question. Why doesn't Mason just run? Why doesn't he just abandon this house or abandon this world? I mean, typically if this was your normal player, I don't know why on earth anyone would stay in this world when clearly something is very wrong with it. It just doesn't make sense to me why Mason is staying amidst all of this happening to him. When Mason does eventually return to his house, we can see that a chunk of land that was there before is now missing. More corruption, just as we're used to. Mason goes to sleep again, and this video ends. Things are only getting getting worse. More and more blocks keep disappearing, and it's clear that Mason is powerless to stop it, but the next video takes a very strange turn. But before we get to it, if you are enjoying the video, then please consider subscribing. I'm trying to
I already
reach 2 million
subscribed, my boy.
subscribers by the
I
end of the
already
year,
did
but
it
a lot
after
of
another
people end up
video.
watching these videos through and never subscribe.
That's
So if you
crazy.
do enjoy these videos and want to see more just like them, subscribing is the best way to tell me that and support the channel. But thank you so much, and let's get back to Mason. The next video, Calm, is exactly that. Mason is just playing Minecraft. No chunks disappear, nothing weird ever happens. It's just 5 minutes of peace. Except, well, there is one thing. Actually, two things. For one thing, 55 seconds into this video, music starts to play.
Hey, we got the Minecraft music is back.
Every other video we see on this channel up to this point has had no music. That is, every video but one. A New World. In fact, this is the same song that plays in that
Yeah, it's
video as well.
C14
Why
or
that song is
418.
present in both
C418.
New World and here is unknown, but this video hides a far darker second secret. Searching in the captions of this video, 2 minutes in, we get a random string. This string is a YouTube URL, and adding the correct prefix takes us to an unlisted video on Mason's channel, Escaping to Hell. It's pretty clear that this video takes place after everything we've already seen so far, as Mason's tools have gotten better and the chunks are far worse. Mason heads to grab obsidian from his chests and constructs a portal in front of his house, but when he enters, we get this.
Let me guess, it's also
This
chunks.
is extremely surreal.
Oh,
whoa.
It's even worse.
Fog and textures that all of a sudden we've entered a different version of Minecraft. The text in the top left is gone, and all of a sudden Mason is in creative without any of his items. But of course, let's not ignore the elephant in the room, that this is not the Nether. Instead, there is only a road, a seemingly infinite extending street that Mason spawns in on. Mason walks through this eerie dimension until he stumbles across what looks like very poorly built traffic lights. Looking over the crossroad, he continues straight until he sees it, a block on the road. Then another, and then stairs, and finally glass panes. Mason freezes, staring for a few seconds before quickly turning back and running through the portal back to the overworld. On the other side, he has his items again, we're back to normal, and he tears down the portal. And in the corner of his vision, we can see that part of the castle has been destroyed yet again. What in the world did we just watch? This is no longer normal. Not
Don't
that
go
it
left,
ever was,
bro.
But even this is out of place for this YouTube channel. Given how he was looking around, it seems like Mason didn't build this, but still, what on earth? I don't really know what to tell you. All we can really do is go into the next video where things have somehow gotten even worse. Mason is moving house, and at first it isn't really clear why, but as he looks up, we can see exactly the reason. Half his house was just vaporized by one of the chunk errors, but it isn't just his house. As Mason looks around, we can see that any land past the border is now gone. The chunks in the distance are completely removed, and it appears that all that is left of Mason and Danny's world are the chunks we can see around us. The corruption has spread deep now, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. Slowly but steadily, Mason moves all of his stuff into Danny's castle, chest.
What do you think is happening? I'm asking you. What do you think is happening?
Hero Brian.
Okay, that's so dumb. Well, clearly, okay.
Had no clue.
Clearly, something's happening with this world, right? And it's got him going through roads of hell, and it is isolating him, decaying. The chest and the flower with the music seem to be coming here, a lot. But I don't know. We haven't been introduced to like any entities, so it can't really be a horror. Like, you know, like something's responsible for it. So it has to be something else. So if it's not horror and this is just happening randomly in a way, then maybe it's psychological. But why would this happen, right? Which means
Just a glitch.
okay, shut up. You know it's not just a glitch. Not with this guy's videos. There has to be like a symbolism. This would be some kind of symbolism, right? Of something here. Though I am not sure, but I might have a couple guesses just because we have not seen his friend yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure. Let's keep watching.
By chest, item by item. Interestingly, he still doesn't address the
Good
chest
job,
he placed in the
Ghost.
castle basement, but as he's relocating the last of his torches, we can
It did
see
it.
it. His house has fully vanished, gone into the void, and nothing but the final back wall giving any sign that it ever existed in the first place. Mason looks at it for a few more seconds before curiosity, or maybe longing, gets the best of him, and he goes to say goodbye one last time. He visits the pit that was once his old home and takes it all in, staring longingly into the void before turning to watch the sunset. He stays like this for a while before finally heading home to the castle and sleeping once again. At this point, it's pretty clear that Mason feels powerless against whatever is taking control over his world.
He did
The
say
haunting
specifically
does
that
not
he's
seem
like,
to be slowing down, and day by day,
could always
more
just
and
leave,
more
but he's
blocks
fighting
are
for
being
this.
removed from the world.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time
I don't
until
know why.
nothing is left of this world, but we're too far in to stop watching now. We have to see this story through and find out what's really going on here.
I think
It's
I have a
time for
guess,
the
but
next
there's no
video,
indicator that
Hope.
that's gonna
The
be
video
it.
begins with a stark contrast to last
That
time.
is?
Danny's castle is now seemingly the only chunk left of this world, with
Oh,
Mason
wow.
taking
Oh my
shelter within
God.
its walls. We can only guess that there isn't much time left
Good
before
thing
the
he-
world
he
deletes
kept
this
on,
chunk too,
repairing
once and
it,
for
huh?
all. From the various cobblestone bridges spanning out into the void, we can guess that Mason was bridging outwards in hopes of finding something, anything that still exists
Die
out there,
block!
but apparently it was to no avail. His render distance has decreased, and we watch as he gathers blocks for one final expedition out towards the left, but this time, he finds something. Somehow, in the distance, Mason catches sight of a chunk that still exists. A chunk that, for some unknown reason, hasn't been
Okay.
deleted. Why? Why has this chunk survived the disintegration when nothing else did? Regardless, Mason can't believe his eyes, running back to get more blocks to finish his bridge before finally climbing over the edge to admire the intact chunk. It seems like he still can't believe his eyes. Something still exists. There's still hope in saving this world if he can figure out what's special about this chunk. He tries bridging out more but changes his mind, going to mine the tree before again changing his mind and replanting the wood. It seems that he doesn't want to cause any damage to this chunk, to savor it as the final remains of his world. He climbs up to the highest point before being transfixed by the dandelion. He then rushes back to his base and brings over food and a chest. Mason quickly kills the animals that have spawned in the new chunk and then makes some sort of odd sacrifice or prayer to the chunk. I'm not really sure what he's getting at, but he fills a chest with items before giving yet another offering.
Oh, gods
takes a
of
weird
Minecraft.
turn, and it seems like Mason is trying to use this chunk as a way to save his world. If he can figure out what makes this chunk special, then maybe he thinks he can bring his world
It's
back.
gonna disappear,
As
isn't
for
it?
what does make this
Yeah.
chunk special, I'm not really sure.
Or
I
the
don't know why
castle.
this is the one chunk that survived in the void, but I did find something rather interesting. If we trace back to the very first video, remember the weird tree with a missing block that Mason filled in? Well, we can actually line up this shot of the tree with the tree on the surviving chunk, and this shot of the flower
Oh,
confirms
okay.
it. This is
Okay,
the
okay,
same
okay,
tree,
okay.
the same chunk that Mason
Ah.
interfered with in the first episode. Whether that actually means something or is just a pure coincidence is up for debate, but it seems a bit too good to be true. Either way though, it doesn't really tell us why this was the chunk that survived the deletion. It's hard to believe Mason did nothing in any other chunk. The next video though gives us some more information. The video is titled Amekania, which after looking it up is the name of the Greek goddess of helplessness. If that doesn't clue you into what's to come, well,
The chunk's
you'll
gone.
see. The video starts with Mason on the bridge back to the castle, returning from the surviving chunk. Given the
Oh,
amount of
no,
food he
not
pulls
the
out of his
crashes.
chest back home, it seems like he's going to make another offering. Before he does though, Mason begins tearing down his other bridges before finally heading back to the surviving chunk. But when he returns to it, it's
Dun,
gone.
dun,
The
dun.
chunk has vanished. The blocks Mason placed are still there, but the chunk itself is totally gone. deleted. Clearly, Mason's bargaining wasn't enough. The offerings weren't received. This world clearly isn't done taking things from Mason. Mason, now utterly defeated, looks around helpless, hopeless, as his dreams of saving this world were crushed right before his eyes. He dumps his offering into the void before tearing
No,
down
what
this
are you
final
gonna
bridge.
eat?
There's nowhere else for him to go. Mason heads back to the base and in one quick motion breaks his chest of cobblestone and takes it all with him. He waits outside, watching as day turns to night before turning to the void and throwing his cobblestone in. Block by block, stack by stack, Mason throws his building
gone
blocks into the
crazy.
void until there's only one stack left. And he gets rid of that one too. The meaning is obvious. Mason has lost hope. He's given up on bridging anywhere else and escaping this castle in the sky. There's just nowhere for him to go anymore. That surviving chunk was his last
Okay.
thread of hope, and now it's gone. Mason is fully helpless. But as he drops the final stack, he looks up. A tree has just grown. He stares at it for a little before heading to bed and ending the video.
What is it? What is happening here? I don't really get it. What
Oh,
is?
so does the world want to see him lose it, or like just
No, it
as soon
doesn't.
as he got rid of stuff that could help him, a tree appeared. Would it mean that something else will appear if he drops his diamond sword or something?
Feels deeper than that. I just don't really know what it is. It could be many things. They already bring in like symbolism and like deeper meanings by just referencing like the god of like helplessness, the world he knows breaking apart,
And update.
psychology focus. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It is like a mental state on his IRL life of the person, like an analogy.
Oh, that could be it.
You're like, Sam, you're like, I have no idea how you got here, but yeah, maybe.
This video is a journey of
I
Mason,
don't know how
hopeful about his
you
potential
got
savior
like
to losing it in the blink
IRL
of an eye, giving up all
psychology
hope
issues
before
from
once
a
again,
Because
for
there is
a
no,
moment,
because
but
it's
his
not
yeah.
bringing up
isn't
anything. Usually
going
these
to
have,
give up.
usually
It's
these things
genuinely
have
just
a meaning,
sad to
right?
watch, but it still doesn't answer
Uh-huh.
what's
So I'm trying
causing
to figure
all
out
of
the
this
meaning.
in Mason's world. Why is it that the castle hasn't
feel
been
like
deleted yet when
we need
everything
to
else
know a little
has?
bit more
Why did
about
that
the
other
friend.
chunk take so long to delete? And still, what in the world was the meaning of that Nether episode? It just doesn't add up.
Has he
But
told
there's
his
only
friend?
one
Does
video
the
left
friend
in
know
the series,
something
so
is
if there's
happening
ever
in the
been a
world?
time for answers, it's
Will the friend have the same issue? Or like if the friend logs in, will he see the
Wait.
same thing?
Is this an analogy on loss? The
He's
last
lost.
thing he's holding on is his friend's place. Did his friend
And
die?
he put a he put a flower.
Did his friend die and he just doesn't want to let him go? Is this an analogy for
Oh,
This begins
wait, that
with
could
Mason heading
be.
out of the castle, and we see something interesting. More saplings have been planted. It seems like that tree growing in the last video must have sparked something inside of Mason, because now he
You're
looks
talking
like
about the
he
friend, and I
hasn't
started
given
thinking
up
about
on
it. I was like, wait a
escaping
minute,
this
yeah, there is a
void.
lot
He
we don't know
turns
about the
and
friend.
notices a gap in his fence before going up to fix it, after which he heads back down to look into the void. But suddenly, something switches. Mason runs back inside and grabs his shovel, before immediately returning, and after a few moments of hesitation, he begins to destroy. Mason breaks all his saplings before returning to the only one remaining corner of this island and digging it out. Without stopping, he digs the tunnel all the way to the bottom of the void and then back up, but he doesn't stop there. Mason uproots his entire island, mining all of the dirt before starting to destroy the castle too. No blocks are spared, and Mason continues to dig more and more, breaking the entire tower before moving on to the next one. Soon, the entire top half of the second tower is also gone, and Mason pauses, only to then throw his armor into the void as well. He continues to tear down the walls, block after block after block, until all that's left of the entire world is the chest. Mason goes into F5 and looks around, surveying the void around him and watching the clouds, seemingly at peace for the first time in ages, before looking down, breaking the chest, and falling into the void.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's the end of the series. There are no videos left and seemingly no answer of what comes next, what this all means, and why.
Wait, those are the
And
titles. Okay, so
Acceptance.
what
He
is
accepted
what
his
is the
friend's
5
death.
denials of grief or the 5 stages of grief?
Oh god.
I just know the last one's acceptance. Denial, anger, bargaining, bargaining. Then when you feel sad and cry and everything, and then acceptance.
Yeah. Oh, so sadness was one. Okay.
Yeah. So, or maybe it's sadness, then acceptance. Whatever. Point is, I'm trying to see if there's like analogy we could put right here, because it's new world. That's him. That's if it's about his mourning his friend. I don't even know if this is. This is this could be this could be nothing. I could be throwing. Gets worse. He doesn't believe it. He gets angry. He fights back. He tries to accept it. He moves places. He has
kinda
control.
accepts his
Feels
first.
hopelessness, and then lets it all go. I don't know. I'm trying to pick up
no answer of what comes next, what this
Then,
all means, and why this
depression,
happened to Mason.
acceptance.
All we're left with is a strange, cryptic, and incoherent set of videos. But I do think there is a story here.
Why
What
am I
we're
hearing
watching
double?
isn't meant to be a surface level playthrough of a strange.
Why are you hearing double? You shouldn't be hearing double.
I have no clue why.
Double what?
Double audio on the video, like barely, but like I hear double.
Strange
but-
situation.
No, it's fine.
It's a
it's fine.
showcase of a human being going through the 5 stages of grief. Ever since he was mentioned in the description of the
I
first
was
episode,
right.
Danny hasn't made a single appearance in any of his videos. This was his castle, his world with Mason, but we never
I was
see
right.
or hear of Danny. But isn't it strange that the only chunk that Mason keeps repairing in this whole series is Danny's castle, not even his own home? Isn't it strange that Mason never leaves this world like any normal player would? I mean, if this happened to you, why would you ever keep playing? Unless this world meant something more to you. Unless this world was the only
The
memory
only
of someone
memory
you had
alive.
lost. And if that was true, wouldn't your first priority be to keep whatever they made intact, to fight back and preserve their memory? The channel Nights tells a story of Mason going through denial.
I guess this also could be an analogy of you forgetting stuff you did with that person as you grow and older, right? And you're trying to still remember and keep remember who they are and how they affected you. But as a person, as you grow more memories, you kind of start forgetting where how much this person really meant to you and stuff like that, and stuff you guys did, like from the mundane stuff and everything. And at this point, you're just trying to fight back and hold on to your image of them. Because you know how people say after a long time, if you don't have like a photo of somebody, you pretty much forget their face.
Yeah.
So this could be like another interpretation of that,
Continuing
Yeah.
to play in his world as if nothing was wrong, writing it off as a glitch or a bug. Anger, lashing out against the mobs, blowing up his world and dropping lava into the void to fight back against the disappearances. Bargaining by trying to make amends and pleading with the only thing that he had left to somehow bring his world back, to preserve his memories and keep them alive. Depression, giving up on ever making it out and throwing away all that he had left before finally accepting acceptance, not letting the world take Danny's castle from him, but instead tearing it down himself, understanding that he can't hold on to the past. Holding on to this world won't bring Danny back, nothing will. The only thing he can do to heal his wounds is to accept that Danny is gone. And I'll do you one better. The enlisted video, Escaping to Hell, that's Mason telling us that his hell isn't the Nether, it's remembering what happened to Danny, which I can only suspect must have been some—
Is it an accident? Did he die in a driving accident?
Oh my god.
Did he die in a motor accident?
No.
some sort of accident. Whether Danny was a friend, a brother, or something more, he's gone, and Mason has to accept it. But that's not where this story ends, because what if I told you that these videos weren't in order and you've already seen how this story ends for Mason? Because what
new
comes
world.
after acceptance? Well, it's only then that you
Yep.
can truly heal and begin
That
a
stuff he has is literally the same stuff he had here, yeah.
new world. I mean, don't believe me, just pay attention to the inventories. In fact, the only item that's different in Danny's inventory right before and after the fall is the one item that we suspected he put in the
Rose.
chest all those episodes ago. The rose. The one fragment left of a Minecraft world that destroyed itself.
Damn, dramatic as music, but still. Wow, okay. Wow. That's actually kind of. That was
That's it.
actually good. I like that. Okay,
Yep.
that was actually pretty decent. Again, how much of that would you have solved by yourself, Sam? I'm curious.
Obviously nothing.
Oh, come on. Can you not? Do you not wonder? Do you not like, try to think about like the deeper messages and like the videos we look into and watch stuff like that?
I try to, but sometimes it just doesn't click, you know. Sometimes it does, other times it doesn't.
We'll read you right now, chat. Let's just get this outro out of the way. I just gotta say, I'm surprised it took me this long to figure it out. But that's true. I'm surprised I didn't figure out the road part faster either, considering how very on the nose it was with the motor accident. But I'm glad I did figure it out, because then I would question it myself. But this is good. I very much liked it. I like the symbolism, the messaging, the entire grief system we have with everything, and how it was very awesomely displayed here. To be honest, rip to our boy, and feel bad for this guy for having to hold on to that. But in the end, he did start anew, and that is all you could really do, unless you want to get stuck in a self-hating perpetual cycle of never growing from it. But it's neither here or there. As always, though, hope you guys enjoyed the reaction. As always, the original video is gonna be down in the description down below. Make sure to check them out first, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye bye.
Bye.